Hello. We have really only 33 minutes because of our careful schedule today to be sure that you all get some lunch and return in the afternoon. So I want, rather than making it a panel discussion, I think that it's your opportunity now from the beginning to ask questions. Please remember, though, that there are microphones and mic runners. So when you do, just please speak into that microphone. So anyone like to start? Yes, down here. Just wait 1 second. Oh, when next then?
Thanks.
Oh, can we start here then?
Hello. Question for Jean-Francois. You talked about the age of excess and networking. I'm curious to get your ideas on what you think the next step is relative to postmodernism. Where do we go next?
Okay.
Sorry, it's very broad.
Yes, it's very broad. Because as you realize, I tried to escape it. No. To be serious, I didn't want to escape the question. I just wanted to give few elements to answer it in a way which would not be, too easy. And for me, postmodernism doesn't mean anything. I never use these words. Modernism, postmodernism. You will never find them in my text. I got rid of them a long time ago, and I feel very, very relieved. It's so nice to forget a lot of these words, to look at the words and go back to the words, and go back to the text and go back to the moments, and so on. So, this idea of postmodernism maybe has a little sense in architecture. In architecture, yes. For architecture, it has a sense. Otherwise, I think it is one of these words which maybe help to think at the very beginning when somebody invents them, and then they block more than they help. They block the mind more than help. Voilà. So that's my first answer. So I don't think in these terms. There is not for me something after modernism. I mean, and even I don't know what is modernism. I did this show on Mallarmé, which included Cheminsky, Artaud, and all that stuff I was mentioning, just as an alternative to the idea of modernism, to show that something else. And another process had been engaged. Since Mallarmé. You see. So I don't think in this term. So that's the first thing. So second, as everybody, I experienced the big change made by internet. It's a big change. This, I don't deny it. You see, it's not a matter of word. This is a fact. We have a new, something which is not a tool, not a machine. It's not a tool and not a machine. We have to change our mind to think what it is. But, you see, I'm not an art historian. Yes, I am. But I am first somebody interested in art. Deeply interested in it. I need it, if you want, for my life, for my personal life. So I cannot escape it. I have to use it because that's my way of being, as I said. The tableau is a way of being. It's not a way of seeing. It's a way of being. It's more important to be in the world than just to look at, even if seeing is very important. Anyway, my point is the tableau is important. The tableau is historically important, and I can even see that it is important for me. You see, as a form of experience, as I said. And it was very important for the definition of the Western subject since the Renaissance. Never forget it. It's very important. It's not just a form which was, as social, as historians of the social historians of art say most of the time. When they look at a form, they say, this form is coming from You see? So they will say the tableau form is coming from the bourgeois, blah, blah, blah. No, it is just the reverse, which is interesting, to consider that the tableau form was shaping an experience a new experience for the Western man and woman, especially man at the time, excuse me. But unfortunately, so you see, this is a tableau. My question is very simple. What the tableau will become in this new area of networking and access, first. Second, what will it help to think about this new way of being? Because it's always about being. Our question is about being. So will it help, and how? And if I mention what I mentioned, it's because I think all the points I mentioned are useful to answer these questions, these two questions. So I wanted to give in my talk some material to answer or to start answering the question. But I don't pretend to have a big answer. And I tell you, I hate this big answer. I think we have to work as ants and not as from above. You know, we have to work from the bottom and see what happens. What happens? You know, what can we do with the tableau? What can it produce? Voilà, that's an interesting point. Is it over? You know, in the 60s, 70s, a lot of people, the radical artists were saying about painting, it's over. Shall we say now that the tableau is over, as we said in the 60s and 70s? Shall we prefer to talk of dispositif and all this? Do we think that these ideas are really new and more interesting? You see, voilà, these are the questions. I'm sorry, I cannot answer more precisely.
Sorry, my question again goes to Jean-Francois. I think your talk deserves at least a complicated question because, as you say, parce que c'est compliqué. And it's this small detail you mentioned around the collage, which was, if you could elaborate, that sur-rature isn't erasure, but rather crossed out.
Yeah.
And how this deals with the elusive space which tableau holds.
It's a very difficult question.
Okay. Well,
No.
you continued on and said that collage can occur in a mode of sur-rature, right? Or that this expresses the visionary side of the everyday.
Okay, so I'm very glad about the question, but it's a difficult one. So, but at the end you gave your own answer. You gave the answer. No, I realize that you gave the answer asking the question. I mean, what do you say? You said that under erasure, crossing out, as a process of collage, as a procedure of collage, is related to the shadow space of painting. Yes, it's exactly what I said. I mean, you see, if it is not erased, so if it's not invisible, I mean, maybe I don't understand the word erasure, but for me, erasure is to suppress. You don't see anymore. Is it right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So if it is really erased, you don't see anymore. If it's crossed out, you see. And you saw the difference between crossing out and erase. So the concept of under the sous-rature is coming from Derrida, as you probably know. And it was translated by under erasure. But it's not under erasure, because if it was under erasure, you could not see. Voilà, that's my first point. I said that collage is not about erasure, it's more about crossing out. So when it's dealing with something negative, when you want to say something is negative, you can cross out, you are not you don't necessarily erase it. Huh? So, but if you cross it out, it's still visible, it is still there. That's the point, you see. So collage is about connecting things which can be antagonistic. One is denying the other, but they still go together. Voilà. And in this collage by Maxence, what do you have? You have together two different levels. The level of, let's say, modern art, modern life, excuse me, and this kind of satirical attitude towards the high values and the high bourgeois values. I mean, it is a Dadaistic position.